Welcome to Aging Insight with your host, John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by
Welcome to Aging Insight, everybody. I'm John Ross. This is Lisa Schollmeyer, and you're watching the best program related to your health, housing, financial, and legal needs, brought to you by a couple of experts in the business. This is what we do. We are elder law attorneys that try to help people navigate through their retirement years, people with adult disabilities, and in order to do that, we've got to have a pretty wide range of knowledge so that we can pass that along to our clients. The problem is not everybody can come and see us.
That's right. So we'll come to you.
We'll come to you. That's right. We come here and get you the information that we think you need, and maybe try to answer some questions, maybe even questions you didn't know you had.
That's right. So, we talk about on Aging Insight how this is an intersection of a lot of subject areas that are particularly of interest to retirees or people who hope to retire someday. And, we talk about financial issues and legal issues. And John, even now, every now and then, we'll touch on some medical issues.
Sure.
Although we're not those kind of doctors.
That's right.
But today's episode, we're going to talk about a topic that is an intersection of legal and medical issues. And today we're going to talk about the Arkansas medical marijuana laws that have been approved, and where soon Arkansas will be allowing dispensing of marijuana to Arkansas residents who have applied for and hold a medical marijuana card. And John, this is it's an...
People got to be thinking, why are y'all talking about this?
Yeah, but hey, the deal is the science is, there's a lot of science out there that allegedly supports, using marijuana for various conditions. Glaucoma is one that's well known.
Well, that's the thing, is if you look at the list of diseases that they
Yes.
supposedly assist with, and again, we're not doctors, so I don't really know, but the list of diseases or ailments that they supposedly assist with, it's like the top 20 of senior ailments.
That's right. Arthritis, neuropathy,
glaucoma, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's.
Yes, and so there in Arkansas now there is a list of 17 conditions that you can get a medical marijuana card. So, John, it's very likely that I know our clientele that we speak with have to deal and suffer from a lot of these conditions. So, let's talk about how this all intersects.
Well, so we'll have to kind of go back and do a little history lesson on all of this, just to kind of start out, because marijuana and the hemp plant that it comes from has not been illegal in this country forever. In fact, going all the way back into the 1700s, when we were just colonists here, England had insisted that we ship a certain number of bushels of marijuana plants back to England that were being grown here in the United States. George Washington, our first president, he was a farmer, and 1/3 of all of his crops were marijuana plants that were used primarily for the hemp fiber that was so prevalent in making paper and ropes during that time. Now, even back then, there was some illicit use of it. People were still using it as a drug. That became more and more prevalent through the 1800s as people started tinkering around with the science-y stuff a little more. And then by the mid to late 1800s, you got the medicinal hucksters out there.
Right.
Yeah, you can see like the old movies where somebody's sitting on the back of their wagon and they're talking to a little crowd, touting the benefits of their
elixir.
Their elixir.
Yes.
And everybody, everybody watching the movie knows that they're a huckster,
Right.
but they've lured the crowd in with their speech. And that's because a lot of those in the late 1800s, they were using things like the THC, which is the part of the marijuana that gives you the high effect. They were using things like THC, cocaine, other opioids in those elixirs,
Right,
which is
and
why they
over-
worked.
Right, over-the-counter accessible medications and health supports. But it became clear that those elixirs and things were actually somewhat destructive, as well as, John, this is when big pharma, big corporations and all kind of started taking over. And so these remedies were kind of shoved to the side through fear in the public, as
That's right.
well as political pressure points, as well as the the safety issues surrounding the use of some of these products.
That's right. So in the early 1900s, so talking 1900, 1905, you started seeing the first poison acts. And these were acts designed to put the kibosh on these hucksters selling, a jar that says, oh, this is good for the flu, and basically it's just a pint of heroin or something, getting people addicted. So they passed these poison acts. Now, marijuana was not actually on most of these as a list. The opioids were, the cocaines, the others.
The lot of
Those
them.
were, but the marijuana wasn't, because again, this was still a pretty big, viable agricultural product in the United States during this period of time. That all leads all the way up into the early 1930s, and the reason, or one of the supposed reasons, that marijuana ultimately hit the illegal, and that is women's thigh highs.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. In the 1930s, DuPont had developed nylon as an alternative to hemp fiber. And DuPont, big buddies with William Randolph Hearst, the
Publisher.
the publisher, and they put out a series of articles talking about the dangers of marijuana. That led to a kind of universal frenzy around the United States that ended up putting marijuana on the list, which essentially killed hemp and hemp fiber as a commercial product for things like clothing. That brought in the realm of the nylon as a fabric, your nylon backpacks, your nylon hosiery, and all of that. So it's kind of an interesting thing, but it's been that way since the 1930s.
Yes. So with marijuana having been illegal since the turn of the 20th century, and Arkansas voted in 2016 by constitutional amendment to allow marijuana to be sold in the state for medical purposes. So we've had a century of no marijuana, with it being an illegal substance, and now the law is changing. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about how those changes may affect you and how you may access these medicines and the marijuana to address any health conditions. So stick with us.
Lone Star Truck Group is now hiring service technicians. We also have career opportunities in every department. With 23 locations across the South, work where you want. The best product lines in state-of-the-art facilities. Work with the best employees, receiving great benefits, competitive wages, and a safe, clean work environment. Receive ongoing product training for continuous career development. Contact Lone Star Truck Group today and recruit it at LoneStarTruckGroup.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Scholmeyer, and I'm here with John Ross. And today we are talking about the Arkansas medical marijuana laws that are now on the books, and we are about to see those launch in our communities. So we thought we would educate you about those particular laws. And like I said, John, before the break, there had been a vote regarding medical marijuana in Arkansas back maybe 2012, something in the year 2012, something like that, did not pass. But then they put it to a vote again in 2016, and it did pass.
That's right.
And the idea is the lobbyist for the medical marijuana, really the lobbying position for the use of marijuana had to do with the medicinal use, not the recreational use. Other states, such as Colorado, have passed laws providing for and allowing for recreational use. Arkansas has no such laws. So a recreational user of marijuana who has possession of marijuana in Arkansas is still subject to criminal prosecution. So this is a medical marijuana law only. And in order to purchase marijuana legally in the state of Arkansas, you will have to have an ID card issued by the state of Arkansas. This is separate and apart from your driver's license or Arkansas ID. It is, in fact, a medical marijuana user card that you will have to apply for through the state of Arkansas. You can do this online. And in applying for that card, you will have to have a physician, your regular physician, certify that you have a condition that is one of the 17 conditions that are listed on the Arkansas statute for use for medical marijuana. And John, like we said earlier, these conditions are just like the greatest hits of what a lot of seniors deal with day to day.
Right. It's your neuropathy, your arthritis, Alzheimer's.
PTSD. I mean, things like that. One of the interesting things about this for our viewing area on KLFI is that the doctor who certifies that you have one of these conditions must be an Arkansas licensed physician.
That's right. You know, a lot of people in our Texarkana area, their medical providers are actually located on the Texas side of the state line. Now, I'm sure, much like Lisa and I, although our office is located in Texarkana, Texas, we're licensed in both Texas and Arkansas. And I suspect that many of the physicians are the same way. But it does have to be an Arkansas licensed physician that issues that order, and presumably they've got a database of all of those Arkansas licensed physicians. So,
and that's right. You also, John, you also must be an Arkansas resident.
That's right.
So we do have some medical clinics and all on the Arkansas side. And if you're a Texas resident that goes to one of the Arkansas clinics, you cannot get an Arkansas medical marijuana card.
Right. So yeah, you've got to be an Arkansas resident from an Arkansas doctor, and then you get all of that to the state and you get your card.
That's right. So also, this has to be your regular doctor or a doctor that you have a continuing medical relationship with. And this provision of the law, I'm sure, was put into place so that it would prevent maybe the springing up of a doc in a box type situation where you just walk in and you fill out the paperwork and they hand you a certification for medical marijuana. So at present, the doctor has to certify that they are a treating physician for you and they are in a continuing doctor-patient relationship with you.
Yeah, so, assuming you're one of all of those people, right? So you've got the condition, you've Arkansas resident, you've got the card, and now you're going to go pick up that marijuana and, for your condition, whatever that is. This is all, you hear it's been on our newspaper, this is all legal.
Yes, it is legal.
In Arkansas, under Arkansas state law.
That's right. So that means for our viewers out there, if you are an Arkansas medical marijuana card holder, if you go to the dispensary and pick up to, it can be up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana. 2.5 ounces is the maximum dispensed. you can pick that up at the Arkansas dispensary. But if you go over to the Texas side to have dinner or to go shopping and you have your medical marijuana on your person, you have now broken Texas law.
That's right. And possession of up to 2 ounces of marijuana in the state of Texas is a Class B misdemeanor, subject potentially to 2 years in county jail. So it's not a state jail felony. But if you would not like to be hanging about in the Bowie County Correctional Services for the next 2 years, I would highly suggest not crossing that state line with your legally purchased marijuana.
That's right.
So, you know, that's where you get the intersection of medicine and law, is because, you know, you've got something that's legal in one state, it's illegal in Texas, it's also illegal federally. And so, you know, although Arkansas has said we're not going to prosecute this, the federal government still treats all of this, all marijuana, as a Class 1 regulated drug, just like a heroin or a cocaine. And so it's illegal to the feds, it's illegal in the state of Texas. You can buy it in the state of Arkansas.
We'll be able to buy it in the state of Arkansas from an officially licensed dispensary. And I guess that brings up the fact, John, that just because you have a medical card for marijuana in Arkansas, the only source that you can purchase your medical marijuana from legally is a dispensary. And my understanding, John, they're about to open one in Hot Springs. Will be open in the next week or two, and we're recording this in April of 2019. The Miller County dispensary, I think, is in process, but not yet open.
But even if you have that card, even if you have the right to purchase it, there still are some limits. Like you said, you can only purchase it from a dispensary. You can't grow it.
That's right. So and that we've had that question come up. You know, if I hold an Arkansas medical marijuana card, can I grow marijuana only for my own personal use? And the answer is no. And, you know, John, some more jaded folks say, well, that seems a little ridiculous. And, you know, that's just all about the taxing and the regulation of the product. You know, the same reason you can't distill whiskey in your home, I guess, is the same type reasons that Arkansas says, yes, we will make this substance legal for this limited purpose for these certified and card-holding adults, but you have to follow our pathway or else you're in trouble with the law.
That's right. And you can't be selling this to somebody else. You can't, even one person who validly obtained legal medical marijuana could not transfer that to another person who validly can have legal medical marijuana. So the transport of that, or the transition of that from one person to another, also completely prohibited in all of that. Although interestingly, if you're completely incapacitated,
right, if you're homebound,
you can have an agent to do this for you.
That's right. One of the other issues with the medical marijuana dispensing in Arkansas is that if you are homebound or can't get out, you can have a designated caregiver who can pick up your dispensed marijuana from the dispensary and have it on their person and bring it to you. But that caregiver has to also have an ID card issued through the medical marijuana regulatory system, and that caregiver has to submit to a criminal background check before they can be issued that caregiver card. So they did think of that, because there are a lot of seniors with a lot of these health conditions that simply don't drive and could not obtain the product from the dispensary themselves.
That's right. Now, one thing that's not addressed, and that's whether or not you could do it with the power of attorney as a medical agent under a power of attorney, doesn't seem to be clear. But anyway, we're going to take one more break, and we're going to come back and answer probably the bigger question in all of this is, well, okay, so maybe you do want to do this. How are you going to pay for it? Medicare? We'll find out. Stick around.
Lone Star Truck Group is now hiring service technicians. We also have career opportunities in every department. With 23 locations across the South, work where you want. The best product lines in state-of-the-art facilities. Work with the best employees, receiving great benefits, competitive wages, and a safe, clean work environment. Receive ongoing product training for continuous career development. Contact Lone Star Truck Group today and recruiting at LoneStarTruckGroup.com.
Welcome back to Aging Insight, everybody. I'm John Ross here with Lisa Schulmeyer. Today we're talking about what the new Arkansas medical marijuana law means to our senior population around here. And we've kind of talked about, well, first of all, it's Arkansas, so it only applies to Arkansas. You got to be an Arkansas resident. You got to use an Arkansas doctor. You've got to have one of the 17 listed illnesses, but that list of illnesses is right down the senior highway.
Well, and frankly, John, I think there's already been a bill proposed to add additional illnesses to that list.
That's
so
right.
that I assume that list is going to continue to expand.
That's right. And as this becomes more and more common, and particularly as you are ailing from things like arthritis or glaucoma or whatever the other ones are on the 17 on the list, or however many more they're at, as this becomes more common, it may very well either strike you that maybe this is something you should check out to help with that arthritis pain in your hands or your knees, or maybe you're a recovering veteran that has some post-traumatic stress, and you think that you've seen the stuff that'll help with that. So you've decided, okay, you know what, maybe I need to try this. Or maybe your doctor has gone all the way out to say, no, you do need to try doing this. Well, I guess the next question you're probably going to wonder is, well, where is Medicare going to fit in on all of this?
Right. And of course, our viewers who are already familiar with Medicare know and understand that Medicare is a completely federal program. Medicare is not a state-based program at all. It is completely federalized. And as John mentioned earlier in the earlier segment, the federal government still considers marijuana in any use to be an illegal substance. So at this time, there is no provision under any of the Medicare programs or the Medicare Part D drug programs to actually pay for or offset the cost of medical marijuana use at this time. That may change, but there's nothing on the horizon that we're familiar with. And John, it's not that Medicare doesn't pay, or the prescription part doesn't pay for some, other controlled substances. They do.
Well, yeah, interestingly enough, that they will pay for opioid-based painkillers and things like that. But it's not just raw heroin. Right. It's got all the chemical components of that in a very controlled form, produced by a pharmaceutical company. To which, so that's kind of the way I think Medicare is looking at that. So yeah, there's no Medicare coverage. Now, interestingly, there are actually a couple of real pharmaceuticals that are based in large part on the chemical makeup of marijuana. Particularly, there's two main components. There's the THC, which is the I guess the pleasure part of it. That's the part that gets you high. And then there's the CBD, which is what has a lot of the medicinal benefits. And there are one or two pharmaceutically based CBD drugs that they use, particularly for, I believe, arthritis and appetite stimulant.
A lot of cancer patients are prescribed the CBD type derived pills to stimulate appetite during cancer treatment. So, and that's been used for a long time.
Right.
So,
and those are covered by your Medicare prescription drug plans or other insurance. But as to just going down to the dispensary, if you do get your Arkansas card and you head down to the dispensary, while you're there, don't bother pulling out your Medicare card.
Right. And as far as that goes, John, I understand that Arkansas has already issued over 10,000 cards, medical marijuana user cards. And of course, as of this date, not a single one has purchased any marijuana because it has not yet been available through a regulated dispensary.
That's right.
And also, from the time they passed the law until now, marijuana has a growing season, and so they've had to, they've had to cultivate the crop and prepare it for dispensing. And I read some statistics the other day that said if everyone who has a card, went to the dispensary and received their full allotment, that the entire crop that is already ready will be dispensed in 2 weeks.
Right, yeah, right now there's not enough supply, and they're anticipating about another 40,000 that will be receiving cards in short order. So yeah, it's going to be a big issue. And as you get into retirement, and particularly with the medical conditions that affect so many in retirement, this is probably going to come up. You're going to have a friend, maybe even your own doctor, who is going to suggest this. If you start thinking about it, hey, do your own research. What we want to talk to you about is the law side of it, and from that standpoint, Medicare's not going to pay for it. We know that for sure. And don't bring it to Texas.
Don't bring it to Texas. That's right. And of course, Arkansas has a number of border cities: Fort Smith, Memphis, Texarkana, and that has been a point of discussion. Is there any border state exemptions for the Arkansas residents? And there is not.
There is not.
So
yeah, make your own choices out there, but just understand the law behind it, and so you don't inadvertently get in trouble. And that's half of what we do, is we just see people who inadvertently do things just because they didn't necessarily have all the facts or have all of the knowledge, which is why we bring you this show. So thanks once again for watching another edition of Aging Insight. There's other ways to get this information. I mean, you can check out the Aging Insight magazine. We have those all over the place, and if you can't find one, you can just call our offices at Ross and Schollmeyer. We'll be happy to get you one. You can even check out our radio show, which is every Saturday at noon on 107.1. That's every Saturday, noon, live on the radio.
That's
you can
right.
even call in and ask a question if you like.
Yeah, so if what we've said on the show sparks a question in your mind, you can always reach out to us on aginginsight.com or on the Facebook for Ross and Schollmeyer, and we will get your answer for you. So thanks for watching.
Bye.